On May 13, 1818, Charlestonian Anne Wagner sent a letter to her son Effingham, describing with great enthusiasm her experience as a tourist in the bustling and rapidly growing city of New York. The musical and operatic culture she encountered there ranked particularly high in her estimation. The previous week, for example, she had gone to hear Phillips sing in the play of The Devil's Bridge. His Song of Fancy sketch, she raved, had exceeded anything I ever heard. Indeed, Wagner judged that she had never seen an opera performed in so great a style since I left England. So enraptured was she by the singing that she assured her son she would attend another performance before the artist left the city. The Charleston matron was as impressed with the variety and price of New York's merchandise as she was with its cultural offerings. The food markets especially delighted her. The meat and fish is beautiful, and the asparagus I am charmed with. I very often go to market and wish I could send you some of the good things. The salmon is the only thing I see high that is 75 cents per pound. Anne Wagner's travels would take her on to Philadelphia, Providence, and Boston, yet the lure of New York City seems to have surpassed that of the other northern towns. By mid-October, long past the time her son had apparently expected her back in Charleston, she remained in Manhattan, slightly but by no means fully contrite for being away from home for more than 5 months. Though she was sorry to think that you have all expected me home before the 1st of September, Wagner wrote in a letter dated October 17, 1818, she went on to observe somewhat archly that it had not been her intent when she left home to return sooner. In response to her son's complaints that she had not written home often enough, she replied, "I am certain I wrote you in Boston and on my return to New York, and in all have written you 5 times since I left home." As much as she disliked being taken to task for being a lax correspondent, she seems to have been even more offended by her son's implication that she had been seduced into extravagance by the mercantile pleasures of Gotham. With barely concealed resentment, she reminded her son that she had properly acknowledged the receipt of both of your remittances, which I am much indebted to you for. I hope it has been all out of funds received from rents, interest, and wages that became due since I left home, as I should be much hurt to think that I had occasion to call upon you. If she gave the family in Charleston too much trouble, she couldn't help it. She was spending her money as profligate Southern tourists would do for years to come. She was enjoying the pleasures of a real city, a charming place. Compared to Charleston, she found New York to be a new world. Though she did not realize it, Anne Wagner represented the initiation of what was soon to become a mid-19th century flood of Southern visitors to New York. This flood of Southerners was in turn facilitated by the flood of Southern cotton that was finding its way through the city's port destined for New England and European textile factories. In 1788, 62 bales of cotton had been shipped across the Atlantic. By 1825, thanks to the rapid settlement of the interior South, the expansion of slavery, and the development of Eli Whitney's cotton gin, New York was exporting the astonishingly higher total of 153,757 bales. During the second decade of the 19th century, a decade during which visitors like Wagner began to descend upon the city for both business and pleasure, Gotham was decisively establishing its commercial dominance over its major rivals for the cotton trade,